Well, I want to thank Salina Country Club as always. This is the greatest venue for this event. I'd hate to even think about moving it someplace else. It's awesome. Salina Country Club does such a good job with it. And I want to thank you, media, for being here. You know, this is about you. This is for you. It doesn't happen unless you are part of it, and I appreciate you being here. I want to thank Scott Crawford, too, for all the work and his staff. He and his staff do thankless work at times, and just want to say thank you to Scott and his staff. My coaches that are here with me today, Matt Welch, many of you know Matt, go ahead and raise your hand, Coach. Bill Shaw, our linebacker coach, is with us, and then, of course, Scott Robinson was introduced, our SID, and that's who's here with us. Like everybody has, well, the guys that spoke prior to me have stated, and the guys that get up here will state, you know, we're excited to get started. Just like everybody else, it's time to get to work. And I think we'll bounce back and win more games than we did last year, but I know things cycle. You know, are we in a down cycle? Are we going to swing back? I don't know. That's what's exciting about football season. It's a little like Christmas. So we're ready to get after it and see what this season will bring. But we are excited about what's going on. We'll report 100 active players. We'll have 110 probably on the roster, maybe 115, but we'll have 100 active players. 51 returners, 40 lettermen. That gets you answered. 40 lettermen. Yeah, read between the lines. As far as our starters that return, you know, our media guy does a good job explaining that, but, you know, we have 7 offensive starters back. Quarterback, tight end, wide receiver, 2 wide receivers, and 3 O-linemen. Brought in a transfer in the spring that, you know, earned a spot coming out of spring. And you can say, well, he may not be ready, may not be ready. Well, this kid lined up for 15 days against Dexter Davis, Defensive Player of the Year. So, you know, this young man's more than seasoned up, and he'll be ready for us on offense. Defensively, we returned 8 starters. 3 defensive linemen, 3 DBs, and 2 linebackers, and excited about them. I'll mention a few guys here in a minute, but I want to get through this part. Special teams, we return a senior kicker, Kellen Pullman, and our punter is our backup quarterback, Derek Reset, who's a sophomore. So we need to find 4 guys on offense, need to find 3 guys on defense, and I think with what who transferred in the spring and the newcomers that'll show up in the fall, well, here in a couple of weeks. It's not going to be hard to find those players. It's all about depth. That's where you win consistently. And I think every coach up here will echo that, but it's finding the depth and fixing those issues. As far as offensive players that return that are pretty outstanding, Stephen Bush, I think, is the best center in the conference. He's an incredible talent. Our tight end, Cody Butts, like I mentioned, big kid, 6'5", 255, a senior. Of course, defensively, Dexter's back as Defensive Player of the Year. Marcus Carter, our middle linebacker, and then Jeff Conson, Terry Cobb, 2 defensive backs that are pretty talented. But, you know, I look out and I see Ted Kessinger sitting there, and I learned a long time ago, back when I was playing, the importance of seniors and the importance of senior leadership. It's not just enough to have 22 of them. They have to be leaders. And our numbers aren't that high in the seniors this year, 16. But I'm real confident in the level of their leadership ability. And that's where I think we'll make up a lot of the ground this year. I learned that from you, Ted. And as long as we can keep going in that direction, we'll be fine. I think with the shorter prep time that we'll have this year, you know, we caught a lot of flack last year for playing 10 games. Well, we have the 11th game. That means we're not going to be in that 2-week mode of 2-a-days. We have 8 days. And I think that's going to jumpstart us. I think that's going to give us a sense of urgency because we open September 1st against Evangel in Springfield, Missouri. But I think coming out in the past couple of years, I believe in my heart we were physically ready to begin the season and play. We weren't mentally ready. And that's on me. You know, as much as I harp about doing the same things over and over and over for years upon years, you know, I think the change in the schedule is going to help us. I've got to get it in my mind a little tighter, but I will when the time comes. But I think that's going to make a difference, a positive difference for us. So we're excited. We're going to try to line up and win them all. But there's some good football teams in this conference. And each week it's a war. And we look forward to those wars.